Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to a late Tuesday daily tech news. Sup, Nacor? What's up, Laughley? Let me just make sure I have everything set up here. Yeah, I think I'm good. All right, so I've got my stuff set up here. I'm ready to go. Listen, everybody. Got a special report. There it is. So normally what I do is the daily tech news. I did that one already earlier today. That's all said and done. I thought I would give a different format a try for particular topics that cannot be covered in a format where I go over a series of news. Some news items are worth a lot more attention and detail. I wasn't sure how long it was going to take for me to get this one ready, but I feel like it's ready as it could be. I could spend forever trying to piece all the information together and I don't know, preparing for it. But I figure there's enough material here. It's worthy of its own stream. And if you are particularly a programmer or in the tech industry and you're having a hard time finding work, boy, do I have some bad news for you. Boy, do I have some bad news for you. So hang on. Here's what we'll do. Okay, I've got my papers, right? That we can pretend. Okay? Special report coming to you. What's up, Frozen? On YouTube and Twitch. Okay, special report. Okay, I'm ready. I tap the papers. I'm good to go. Okay. All right. So let's get into ghost jobs. Now, ghost jobs are not what you sick, degenerate scumbags would probably think they are. Okay, first of all, would go right through you. So there's no way it would actually work, okay? So get your mind out of the gutter. That's not what ghost jobs are. It's different than the other jobs, okay? Jobs can fall under a spectrum of things. This is literally you are trying to get employment, but for some reason or another, you're not having much success. However, this story does not begin at simple employment. One does not simply walk into the story with employment, all right? What we're going to start with, students. Students. Let's begin. So we'll do this one over here. We'll go hang on, let me just make sure. Okay, that's good. Yeah, go like this, minimize that, have all my links up. Here we go, let's do it. Yeah. Students, that's right. Ghost students are creating an agonizing problem for California colleges. I had no idea that this was happening. I had no clue. And, well, let's just get into it, shall we? Cheers. You can just write it off. It's California. There are a bunch of ads on this website. This is a very poor website. I apologize. So I'm going to do my best to try and avoid the ads, but there's very little I can do. When the pandemic upended the world of higher education, Robin Pugh, a professor at City College of San Francisco, began to see one puzzling problem in her online courses. not everyone was a real student. Nani? Of the 40 students enrolled in her popular Introduction to Real Estate course, Pugh said she'd normally drop 3 to 5 from her roster who don't start the course or make contact with her at the start of the semester. But during the current spring semester, Pugh said that number more than doubled when she had to cut 11 students. It's a strange new reality that has left her baffled. It's really unclear to me and beyond the scope of my knowledge how this is really happening, she said. Is it organized crime? Is it something else? Everyone has lots of theories. Some of the disengaged students in Pugh's courses are what administrators and cybersecurity experts say are ghost students. And they've been a growing problem for community colleges, particularly since the shift to online instruction during the pandemic. These ghost students are artificially intelligent agents or bots that pose as real students. To what end? Sup, Owen? Yes. The scammers never stop scamming, do they? They pose as real students in order to steal millions of dollars of financial aid that could otherwise go to actual humans. Now, Laughfully on Twitch says that my little question of, oh, what are they? And then, I encourage you to tell me the answer. Doesn't work if you can see it on the screens. The problem is that most people who are watching don't actually watch or pay attention. And so here I am dropping sometimes life-altering information, and people just cruise on by. And as colleges grapple with the problem, Pugh and her colleagues have been tasked with a new and frustrating task of weeding out these bots and trying to decide who's a real person. So scammers are literally using AI agents or bots in order to get financial aid for all kinds of courses. And of course, this has an impact on the teachers because now this teacher in particular, for example, has to take time to figure out which of her students are real and which are not. I'm very intentional about having individualized interaction with all of my students as early as possible, Pugh said. That included making phone calls to people, sending email messages, just a lot of reaching out individually to find out, are you just overwhelmed at work and haven't gotten around to starting the class yet? Or maybe you're not real. Scope of the student bots. Financial aid fraud is not new, but it's been on the rise in California's community colleges, Cal Matters reported, with scammers stealing more than $10 million in 2024, more than double the amount in 2023. A spokesperson for the California Community College's Chancellor's Office directed SFGate, which is the journal here, to a Public Records Request Act request to obtain the exact numbers. However, the office estimates that 0.21% of the system's financial aid was fraudulently dispersed, the spokesperson said. The Chancellor's Office was unable to estimate the percentage of fraudulent attempts attributed to bots. Bots don't act on their own. There's almost always a human behind it, the spokesperson said in an email. Sure. Wendy Brill Wincup, the president of the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges and a professor at College of the Canyons in Santa Clarita, told SFGate the bots have been enrolling in courses since around early 2021. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. To all the AI cultists who have hyped up AI so dramatically and want everybody to go full speed ahead, you cannot make any moral arguments about this happening. You may find this despicable, you may find this immoral, you may find this unethical, but I'm sorry, you asked for this, and you didn't use your brain to think ahead, and now this is happening. So you have no moral justification for saying, but this bad though. You had no idea about this? That's what I'm here for, Laugh. That's why I do the work that I do for free. It's been going on for quite some time, she said. I think the reason that you're hearing more about it is that it's getting harder and harder to combat or deal with. Brill Wincup said when she first noticed the problem, it was because her course roster had student ID numbers that were all abnormally in sequential order. They're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to hide it. They're just like, it just is. It simply is. And then when classes would start, those suspicious students would show up or interact all over email. Wouldn't show up, rather. Some of the fraudsters have been able to complete some coursework, such as introductory discussion posts, making it harder to tell who's real. I have heard from faculty friends that the bots are getting so smart, they're being programmed in a way that they can even complete some of the initial assignments in online classes so that they're not dropped by the deadline to drop the class. John Hetz, the Community College Systems Executive Vice Chancellor for Research, Analytics, and Data, told SFGate the fake students cause more problems beyond taking funds earmarked for people who really need them. The bots also increase the workload for faculty members and make it harder for real students to enroll in courses. Though he describes the number of bots as small, he said any reported number represents only the attempts that have been detected and stopped. Let me put it to you in different words. The number of students who are bots might be lower than is currently known, as in there may be more, and we just don't know about them. Now, the process to distinguish fake students from real students is really, really hard, as we went over a few of the reasons why. In the 2024 calendar year, the Chancellor's Office estimates that 31.4% of its college applications were fraudulent. This is financial fraud. But it happens. Perpetrators are becoming better at committing fraud as AI continues to accelerate, making it difficult for colleges to keep up. There is always a workaround. At one point, the demographics of one of the professors of the Los Angeles Community College District said that the demographics of her institutions completely shifted within a week. We are primarily Hispanic serving institutions, and within a very short time frame, one of my colleges became predominantly white, and there was just no way with our demographics that was true. So we just didn't sleep until we figured out what was going on. Within a week, you just culturally appropriate, all right? You just completely change the race of an entire institution just within a week. I'm telling you, the dead internet theory is no longer a theory. So they come up with a fix. They're like, well, we're going to stay on top of it. But unfortunately, they can't because the tactics keep changing or things become a little bit smarter, a little bit smarter. And so, of course, they are hoping that they can get some help to set up some processes or have better, more stringent checks for student bots. That, my friends, is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's only the beginning. Now we get into ghost jobs. So if ghost students are true, then ghost jobs are true. And I've already covered ghost employees. We've already gone over this. So for example, North Korea likes to do this a lot. North Korea, one sec here. North Korea likes to target companies in the West, like cybersecurity companies or other companies that tend to have private, confidential information. They will take resumes and profiles of people online, most coming from leaks from things like non-secure S3 buckets, which is probably the most simplest thing you can possibly do if you're setting up an S3 bucket. It's super easy to secure it. It's not that hard. But a lot of people don't. And in some cases, we've covered this already on the Daily Tech News stream. You have resume sites that leak a bunch of resumes with personally identifiable information. It gets out there. The North Koreans get their hands on it, and then they set up entirely fake profiles, or they essentially become the profile of the data that they've received access to. And then they go and fill out job applications, go through the interview process, get hired, have access. And in some cases, they stay hired for a while. Then they are caught as being fake employees. And I kid you not, this is an actual quote from an actual company. Some of these people, some of these fakers, have a team of developers around them to help them stay in the company and perform well and pass the interview tests and all of that. When they get caught and people realize that they're actually fake and they're from North Korea or China or wherever, the company will go, well, we should probably fire these guys. We should probably fire them and remove their access to all of the company data. But they perform so well. Do we really have to fire them? Now, ghost jobs are a little bit different. So let me pull this up here. So many ads. Unmasking the Phantom. Understanding ghost jobs and their impact on the staffing industry and job seekers. In the ever-evolving landscape of the job market, a new phenomenon has emerged that is shaking up the way we approach the hiring process: the elusive ghost job. These are job postings that seem to disappear into thin air, leaving job seekers frustrated and the staffing industry perplexed. One illustrative example of ghost jobs can be found in the tech industry. In 2022, a study by Revelio Labs revealed that tech companies, including giants like Amazon and Meta, had posted thousands of job openings that never materialized. Specifically, Amazon had listed over 170,000 job openings, but only filled around 50,000 of them, leaving a staggering 120,000 ghost jobs. Similarly, Meta, formerly Facebook, had posted more than 86,000 job openings, but only filled about 32,000, resulting in over 54,000 unfilled positions. Now, why might companies be doing this? According to a survey conducted by the American Staffing Association, nearly 60% of staffing firms reported that ghost jobs had a moderate to significant impact on their business operations. The survey also found that 48% of staffing firms had experienced an increase in the number of ghost jobs over the past year. The financial impact of ghost jobs on the staffing industry can be substantial. A study by Bullhorn, a leading applicant tracking system provider, found that staffing firms lost an average of $8,000 per ghost job, accounting for the time and resources invested in the recruitment process. So staffing agencies are not happy about this either, because they're taking a hit. They're the ones who have to go and find people to fill these jobs. And then the job goes away. And all that time and all that money and all that energy is gone. Of course, this can be demoralizing. So much time is spent by people like you and I looking for jobs. A survey conducted by the Adecco Group, a global HR solutions provider, found that 45% of job seekers had experienced applying for a job that turned out to be a ghost job. Furthermore, the survey revealed that 67% of job seekers felt that ghost jobs had a negative impact on their job search experience. Of course it does. Now, the impact of ghost jobs on job seekers can also be seen in their job search duration. A study by the Bureau of Labor Statistics found that the average duration of unemployment in the United States increased from 19.3 weeks in 2020 to 21.3 weeks in 2021. That makes sense. So then they provide some tips about ghost jobs and how to work around that. So this introductory article absolutely opens the door for understanding the concept of ghost jobs and that it is a very real thing. Let's continue. We're being gaslit into thinking there's a shortage of workers by NVIDIA CEO and others. That is very much true. I don't even think that's a conspiracy theory based on the articles that I'm going to go over on the special report. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do 7 o'clock special report. Okay, here I've got my papers. Yes, it's true. It's not even a conspiracy theory. It's just true. It just actually is. We are being gaslit. Okay, next. Ghost jobs. What the rise in fake job listings says about the current job market. And this one is from CNBC. Legitimate companies are increasingly posting fake job listings, often referred to as ghost jobs. 4 in 10 companies posted fake job listings in 2024. And 3 in 10 are currently advertising for a role that is not real. Now, The We're about to get into some really high level cope. This is frozen. Like, I really like that you said gaslighting, because this is gaslighting to a very high degree. The very next paragraph. This is from Jeffrey Scott, who is a senior content manager and hiring manager at Resume Genius. Quote from Jeffrey the Coper here. Ghost jobs are not actually scams. No, they're not scams. They're from real companies. They're just openings that don't actually exist. That's all. Don't get your knickers in a knot. That company is not actually hiring for that role at this moment in time. They might be interested in hiring for that role in the future. Or maybe they were hiring for it, but due to budget cuts, those roles were closed or put on hold. Revelio Labs, a US-based workforce intelligence company, found that the rate of hires per job posting has essentially halved over the past 5 years. In 2019, there were 8 hires for every 10 job postings. By 2024, that number had dropped to 4 hires per 10 job postings. The rise of ghost jobs is also muddying the jobs report, which means that it makes it harder for the Fed to make decisions and understand what the labor market looks like. So up here, when you get labor market data, which usually happens sometimes it's monthly, depends on where you live, sometimes it's quarterly, you have actually no idea what the real unemployment rate is anymore. You cannot even trust the data of the unemployment rate of the federal government. Now, could you before? Maybe not. Like, maybe you could make some case that they suck at, gathering the data or something, sure, right? But when you have 4 in 10 jobs being filled, 3 of 10 which are scams, let's just call it what it is. Let's not be Jeffrey the Coper here. Let's actually call it what it is. It's a friggin' scam. How do you know what your labor market looks like? Okay. Next article. So one of the articles that was referenced to already at least twice, maybe 3 times, I think, was a study done by Revelio Labs. So I looked up the source. I went to Revelio Labs, and as it turns out, they have a post. I don't know if you'd call it a blog post exactly, but it is a post on this very topic. Now, I want you to note the date. (2023). So this isn't even the most up to date, and we know that 2024 saw a worse turn for ghost jobs. Of course, I'm going to get hit by a stupid pop-up. No thanks. I don't want the latest. Okay. The U.S. labor market has experienced a sharp decline in the number of hires per job posting, bringing into question whether job postings are a reliable metric for the state of the labor market. Applicants are reporting increasing rates of being ghosted by recruiters. Okay. The ratio of hires per job posting has dropped from 0.7 hires per job in 2018 to below 0.5 in 2023. That means that only every other job posting gets a hire. That's a 50% hiring rate at most in 2023. Just check out this chart. This chart is something akin to the reverse of another chart that I like to show all the time. It's one of my favorite charts. This. 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 By the way, we're very well on track to overtake 2024 CVE numbers by a healthy margin. Conrad on YouTube, thanks, man. Yeah, that was quite the shout out from Andrew. I really appreciate that. Thanks for being on here, brother. Hopefully it's I'm not quite as entertaining, but hopefully it's informative. I appreciate it. So, we have a massive decline in the number of jobs in the programming industry. Well, in general, actually. This is a general. This isn't even I haven't gotten to the programming industry yet. Okay? Just one more time, just because I really like this. I really love this. I love doing this. Okay, this is for my own benefit. I don't care if you hate this, but I just want to do this again. This. Anyways, okay, let me keep going. It's just my favorite thing to show. The state of the tech industry. Actually, if you really think about it, this actually sums up the state of the tech industry. A massive, an insane, inordinate magnitude of order increase in the number of security vulnerabilities year over year since the year React essentially became mainstream. Okay, so I put this at the feet of React wholly. And a massive decline in hiring. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, Spiro, you can't blame programming for this. Oh, but I can. Au contraire, mon frère. And here's why. As I started at the very beginning of this stream, how are students in university courses becoming ghost students? I just gotta... Oh, what's this? Artificially intelligent agents or bots? Do you think that requires programmers? Sure does. And it is exactly the same principle as why I think programmers have been neutered in this day and age. Nobody knows how to write quality websites anymore. Nobody knows how to write quality software anymore. Nobody knows how to write quality games anymore in terms of code. And so they look to AI to scapegoat all of their stupid decisions. And they add subscriptions and they add advertisements and they sell your data because they don't know how to write stuff that people are willing to pay for. And the same programmers who do this crap are the same programmers who create the bots that feed off of financial aid for students. So all of us in the room are to blame for this, and all of us in the room are to blame for this. You're welcome. Now, obviously, Revelio here tries to take a more nuanced approach. Well, maybe there's labor shortages. Maybe there's slowdown in hiring coming out of the pandemic. Maybe companies are not getting as much funding. Maybe this, maybe that. And then they go into the different niche areas or industries, let's say, of the labor market. And they chart out the reduction of hiring in all of the markets. Well, in some of the bigger markets. So looking at the industries with the biggest decrease, and this is what they are. Yeah, those are all the jobs left in cities anymore. That's right. Here they are. Now, what percentage of the job decrease numbers here do you think falls at the feet of AI bots taking the jobs? And what percentage falls at the feet of companies that need to essentially put out these ghost jobs for one benefit or another? And just so you know, there is a benefit to doing this. Yes, companies that do these ghost job things actually do benefit from not hiring from the jobs they post. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Hang on. Follow along with me. So, of course, they talk about ghosting. Now, the ghosting numbers, let me see, it's 120. Is this the right? Yes. We see with our data analytics tools that the share of interview reviews mentioning recruiter ghosting has increased by 120% over the past 5 years. Let's have a look at a chart, shall we? Now this I recognize. This one, and this one. And this one, and this one. And this one, and this one. That is quite high. So obviously this means that people are posting jobs, companies are posting jobs, and they are not hiring at an increased rate. Almost doubling every year. In some cases, absolutely doubling. Okay. So that was the source of the data from Revelio Labs and what their take was on it. Now, you might be thinking, Spiro, you're so dumb. You keep bringing up the security vulnerability thing, right? There's no way that the two are related, right? Right? It's just me having fun. There's no way these two things could be related. I sit here on Daily Tech. I'm on this is technically episode 53, but it's a special report, so it doesn't have an episode number. But I have done the Enlightened Programming streams. They're all available on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist called Enlightened Programming, which has all of them, I think, save for a few that I've recently released. And I've got 52 episodes of the Daily Tech News stream, and I go over, I've done interviews, like all kinds of stuff, right? I've gone over this information. I've gone over how the tech industry has basically neutered itself through idiotic and moronic decisions so that we do not have enough skilled workers anymore. It's of our own doing. It's not the typical boom-bust cycle of other industries. We are kind of masters of our own destiny in very many ways, and we have just decided to make our destiny be that we do not have good skilled workers here. And of course, when I pull up these security vulnerability issue numbers that have gone way, way up, and even regular consumers who are watching me right now can agree that things are buggier and less secure and their data gets leaked, and it's just like a matter of life that your data is going to get leaked no matter what you use. Doesn't matter what. So you just accept it. And all of this, there's no way there's a correlation here, right? There's zero shot that everything I'm talking about is correlated to an increase in cybersecurity vulnerabilities. There's no shot, right? No shot. Then we have this. And then we have what's this? Oh, what's this? Oh, was Spiro right? Oh, was Textradamus right again? Huh. I wonder. So let me do this one more time. Because I planned this from the very start. We have this, and 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 we have this. Half of cybersecurity jobs might not be real, wasting time for everyone. This is from January 17th, 2024. With ghost jobs on the rise, applicants for cybersecurity and tech positions in general are particularly affected by the trend to keep placement open for jobs they have zero chance of ever getting. A recent study by Clarify Capital revealed that 68% of hiring managers had job postings active for more than 30 days, and 1 in 10 had positions open for over 6 months. More than half of recruiters keep job postings active because they're always open to new people. The situation is even worse in cybersecurity and tech in general. I can't zoom in anymore without it overflowing, so you're just going to have to take my word that I'm reading correctly. In the US, the information industry had 139,000 job openings in November 2023, down from 213,000 a year ago. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reveals 66,000 specialists were hired in the industry during the same month. Hires were at 112,000 a year ago. That's less than half. Or just about half, actually. High school dropout math, all right? The ratio of job openings to hires in the information industry was 2.1, meaning there were more than 2 job openings for 1 actual hire. The ratio in the total economy was 1.6 openings for 1 hire. Many recruiters even believe that posting ghost jobs is beneficial. Why? Why would recruiters think that keeping a ghost job is beneficial? Because it helps keep current employees motivated. Or it gives the impression that the company is growing. For many, this is the way to maintain an active pool of applicants for natural turnover. Yeah. So there's nothing quite like the fear of losing your job by seeing a job opening for exactly your job title. And you're like, man, I better work this weekend. But daddy, we love you. We want to spend time with you. Nope. There's a 6-month job opening with my job title, Cybersecurity Defender, who protects the nation from nation-state actors who want access to our systems. That job has been open for 6 months or more. I'm going to work harder. Doesn't it cost money to have job postings? It depends on where you post. And usually, at least from what I've seen, and I'm probably going to cover 1 or 2 articles that describe this, companies have a good ROI. One of them being that the motivation, the productivity output of their employees is higher because they're afraid of losing their job to a ghost job. The other thing is, well, let me not give away the lead here, okay? There is another reason. It goes deeper, so I promise you will get a more wholesome, like holistic answer, Laughfully, okay? More than just what I just covered. So obviously people are frustrated when you go to apply for the job and it's a ghost job. It impacts all kinds of things that we talked about, etc. Cyber pros apparently should send 2 CVs to apply once. 45.7% of cybersecurity jobs were found to be ghost jobs, the 3rd highest in the study. Software engineers were the 2nd most likely to face ghost jobs, 46.5% of listings. That makes me feel only 1.2% better or worse. Similarly, web developer roles were found to be ghost jobs 42.3% of the time. So in the top 5, web developers, cybersecurity jobs, and software engineers take up 3. For comparison, just for comparison, okay, in the UK's overall job market, ghost jobs had a share of 34.4%. In the overall job market. Okay, now, there is no law that specifically bans ghost job advertising. But of course, many people feel it's unethical. Now, a third of managers who were surveyed about the state of their job postings said, "We forgot to delete the job," or "There were no reasons in particular to keep it active." That's just a third. There were some possible contributing factors, like a lack of budget, unclear job titles and responsibilities, or a lack of qualified candidates. This, however, is in terms of job to hiring ratio. So why wouldn't you hire someone if you had a job open for so long? Okay. Yeah, Nightshade. 33% of managers are just straight up bad at their jobs. That's right. So, then they give you advice on, obviously, how do you determine the difference between a ghost job or not. All right, perfect. And a lot of the advice we all know. Here's a tip. If you want to have a high success rate of, or a higher, let's say, success rate of getting a job, go on like LinkedIn or something, or go on a company website and learn a bit about them, and then reach out to some of the people who work there and just kind of ingratiate your way in. Do it nicely. Don't be a weird creep about it. I know that's hard in this day and age, but it is doable. Now let's move on a little bit. Let's jump a little bit forward in time. Okay, let me just yeah. All right. Now, we covered 2023. We covered 2024-ish, on this topic. So, let's go have a look at something just a little bit more up to date, shall we? More soul-crushing than ever. Popular hiring platform finds around 20% of its postings were ghost jobs. January 13th, 2025. Hiring platform Greenhouse, which is not a small fry in terms of job postings, found that 18% to 22% of the jobs on its site were ghost jobs, or jobs that companies did not intend to fill. The construction and arts industries had the most ghost jobs posted. Companies, so laughingly, this is directly to your question, companies posting these jobs benefit by creating an illusion of growth. Now, how would an illusion of growth give you a good ROI if you're spending money posting for the job to begin with? Let's get into it. So Greenhouse has more than 7,500 clients, including Major League Baseball and HubSpot. It found that nearly 70% of the companies using its platform had posted at least one ghost job in the second quarter of 2024. Construction, the arts, food, and legal were the industries with the most ghost jobs according to the internal data. Now, this might seem a little bit different than what we just covered, right? Because we just covered a study done over here, or a survey, where out of the top 5, 3 of the ghost job industries were cybersecurity being the second, software being the third, and web developers being the fourth. And then this looks different. Well, the reason why this looks different, just to give you some context, is that Greenhouse does not have a massive global, like many, it's not as big as some of these surveys and statistics, which cover more than one job posting website, right? So this is going to be a little bit catered to the data that Greenhouse has access to. However, even though the industries don't line up with the data we went over, the fact that ghost jobs exist at such rates is the real problem here. For about 15% of Greenhouse's clients, posting ghost jobs was a regular occurrence. Half of the jobs listed by this group went unfilled in the second quarter of last year. Greenhouse isn't the first to study the issue. An October analysis from Resume Genius found that there were over 1.6 million potential ghost jobs on LinkedIn in the US alone. Now, Laughly asked a good question on Twitch. Doesn't it cost money? Doesn't it cost money to put a job on these platforms? Why, yes, it does. So what's the benefit? According to Resume Genius, leaving up dead-end job postings is advantageous to companies because it creates the illusion that the company is growing, leaves the door open to new talent, and allows them to amass LinkedIn followers and emails from mailing lists. We already went over this study where companies want to give the impression of growth. There is a lot of frustration, lots of time taken up by, let's say, human resource management or hiring managers, hiring firms, etc. Let's keep going, shall we? Shall we continue? Ghost jobs in tech. Why companies are posting roles they don't plan to fill. An increasing number of job seekers are applying for roles that companies never actually plan to fill. These so-called ghost jobs are frustrating applicants across industries, especially in tech. Around 40% of companies admitted to posting fake job listings in 2024, with 30% currently keeping at least one active. What's the benefit? First of all, are they legal? It could maybe fall under false advertising. It could maybe fall under discriminatory practices. It could maybe fall under wage benchmarking and data collection. But it's still legal. We've had the tech layoffs. We've had the automated AI job listings. A 2024 recruiting survey found that 96% of recruiters rely on automated software or job search apps to repost job listings regularly, maintaining the illusion of active hiring. There's economic uncertainty, and so companies are hesitant to commit to new hirings, but they want to have a pipeline of people that they can call upon when hiring picks up again. They want to make sure that their brand image looks good. It means that the company looks like it's growing and thriving. Even if they're doing internal hiring, they want, like I said, to have the pipeline. They want to see what the salary expectations are. And this is the first key element to the benefit that companies get. I'm going to zoom nice and tight. Let me just go right in there. We're going to go all the way in there. Right here. Crap. Professional streamer here. This right here. This is the real financial reason why companies mostly benefit from having ghost jobs. Satisfying investors and stakeholders. Demonstrating hiring activity can signal confidence to investors and stakeholders, even when the actual hiring process is on hold. One of the things that investors look at when they are courting, dating, taking the company out for dinner and a movie, 5-course meal, maybe a little bit of red wine or white wine to top off the evening before inviting them back into their home for a nice, lovely night to spend together. They're checking downstairs to see if there's good growth. Essentially, ghost jobs are a way for a company to pop a Viagra pill and show that they can perform. And then the investor gets into bed with them. Always follow the money. So then this article continues going over exactly the things that we've been talking about. Let me pull up. I think there's 1 or 2 more articles. Let me just make sure that these pull up without any stupid ads. Okay. Okay, this one here. And then I'm just going to pull up the last one just to make sure. Not this one. It was, I believe, this one. No, that's the same one. So this is it. This is okay. No, this is the right one because it has some charts. Okay, perfect. So I got the last 2. So let's finish this off, shall we? Ghost job ads are rife, and tech is no exception. Now, a lot of this information that's on this website is stuff that we've already gone over, so I'm going to skip over and just stick to the parts that add some context to the discussion that we're having here. According to recent job surveys by job sites Resume Builder and My Perfect Resume, which separately found evidence that fake listings are rife, Resume Builder's May 2024 survey of over 1,600 hiring managers found 40% of firms posted a fake job this year. While a My Perfect Resume poll of over 750 U.S. recruiters found 81% admit their employer posts ads for jobs that will never be or have already been filled. Stacy Haller, Chief Career Advisor at Resume Builder, said the practice has long been common in the temporary staffing field, but what surprised her is how many corporate and HR organizations are starting to do this as well. A lot of it has to do with appearance and to create an impression to affect either the outside world that they were growing and thriving, she said, or internally that they have people on the bench waiting in case they need to replace any employees. Your replacement's just around the corner. You better work. Alarmingly, Resume Builder's data showed recruiters. Just gonna zoom in on this. Where is it? Yeah, here. recruiters are convinced the practice works. Around 2/3 reported positive impacts from the fake listings on both revenue and morale, while 77% said the fake listings increased productivity. 7 in 10 respondents also said the practice was definitely or probably morally acceptable. I can't. I can't. Guys, bros, gentlemen, seven in 10 companies that are finding value from posting ghost jobs with revenue, morale, the fear of their employees losing their jobs say it's definitely or probably morally acceptable. Yeah, Battle. How many of the hiring managers are Greek? Yeah. Obviously, this is a sentiment that's unlikely to be reflected on the other side of the table. So there's obviously a trend going on. The SFGate journal that I read was referenced. There's a spreadsheet titled Ghost Jobs Red Flag List. It's been circulating online. Resume Builder survey also found top reasons for the fake listings included signaling openness to external talent, 67%, maintaining the appearance of growth, 66%, and misleading overworked workers into believing help is on the way. I want to read it to you again. Resume Builder survey also found top reasons for the fake listings included yada 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 and misleading overworked workers into believing help is on the way. Perfectly moral. It's perfectly moral. I can't. Bros, I can't. This is insane. Okay. If they're thinking it's morally acceptable, well, we're talking about fake news and fake information all the time. That's the only thing that this person could conclude as a way to justify how someone could think that this is, perfectly moral. Now, in the last article that I have here, how common are ghost jobs? And once again, this just reiterates pretty much everything we've gone over. The thing is that it has some nice charts and some just a little bit of additional, just final pieces of context for this entire thing. 82% of open jobs in 2024 were filled, meaning they led to a real hire. Hey, that's not bad. 18% of jobs were not filled, 5.5 were paused, 1% had an offer made, but no hire, only 3.5% of jobs had no reason given. Now, this is only based on, it is 22,000 jobs from 2021 to 2024, but it is also a limited set of boards, of job boards. So you can't, the data is not representative of some of the data that I initially went over, which is why I initially went over them, because they provide a more holistic view, which is beyond the scope of just technical jobs, right? So you get a bigger picture of all the different kinds of jobs from a variety of different job boards, from a variety of different globally or multiple nations, etc., right? So these numbers in and of themselves, based on the data they had, looked good, but it's actually worse than this, as we have already gone over. However, when you look at it from a chart perspective, this is still a large amount of jobs, even in the limited data set that they had, that are not going fulfilled. Another way of saying it is that 1 in 5 jobs are closed without a fill. And you can see at Enterprise Orgs, 89% of open jobs on Ashby were filled in 2024. So the lower the organization size, the higher that they were likely to close a job posting without actually filling it. Now, this particular data set struck me as a little bit odd. But again, I just want to emphasize that even in this data set, it was a very limited number of jobs from a very limited number of job boards. And I just want to emphasize one last thing about this data set. It comes from mostly the Ashby Job Board website. Now, do you think that a job board website is going to release statistics that make it look like companies are having a bad time filling roles, or that prospective employees cannot find work at their job board? No, of course not. And yet even their own data is still quite damning, and they try and cope through it. Now, just to close this off, why do I think this is important? Why did I have to do a special report over an hour on simply ghost jobs alone? Well, first of all, it took me a lot of damn time to find all of this information, to source it out, to narrow down the noise from the actual data that I wanted. This was about 2 weeks in the making. I have 2 more special reports in the background, one of which I'm not completed. But this all goes back to the major point that I've been trying to make about the tech industry, which I know people outside of the tech industry have an intuitive sense that is happening, and people within the tech industry also have an intuitive sense and even a knowledge base awareness that it is happening. The tech industry is in complete and utter disarray. It is going down very fast. AI is a packaged up system of all the poor, stupid, idiotic, moronic decisions that the tech industry has been making in the past 10 to 20 years, packaged up into AI so that they can make more of these decisions faster and en masse. So the entire tech industry is speedrunning itself to a horrific end. And that horrific end, as I have demonstrated through all of my streams since I started streaming, is that people are going to lose their lives. They're going to get 404'd, and they have been. What I just covered is a symptom of that story playing out before our very eyes. The very fact that the tech industry has neutered their own skill workers by abstracting and obfuscating simple programming paradigms and essentially telling everybody, you're too stupid to understand principles and fundamentals of programming. Just abstract away all your responsibilities to third-party libraries, packages, whatever. Don't worry about any logical reasons why you might want to do so. As long as your developer experience feels good, as long as you feel good coding the code, and you check off all of these things, then everybody's happy, and you'll be happy, and you'll feel happy. And the result of that is we get video games that suck, for the most part, websites that suck, software that sucks, mobile apps that suck, hardware that sucks, everything is buggy, everything is leaky in terms of security. everything has gotten worse, generally speaking, with a few holdouts and a few people like myself and others like myself who say the things that I'm saying, but we're the few, we're not the majority. There is a mind virus that has captured external factors in society that I'm not equipped to talk about, but it infects the very way that code is generated in our industry. As a result of that, we have not only managers and executives and HR and all of that stuff that they don't know how to operate in this world anymore, because this world no longer functions on what should be a purely logical paradigm. That's what hardware does. It's like a recipe book. It follows the recipe step by step until it gets to the conclusion. When you're writing code, I'm abstracting a little bit, okay? But when you're writing air code, generally your hardware is just going to execute one thing after the other until it reaches the end. That's how it works. That's all based on logic. It's nothing but logic. It's just a logical series of sequences. That's pretty much it. But because we've neutered all of the workers in this industry from understanding that, and we've abstracted away everything with libraries and frameworks and stuff so that they don't understand how anything works under the hood anymore, then you have a problem like this. This is one symptom of the problem, which is that you can't even properly hire for these people anymore. Before ghost jobs were a thing, before AI took off, look at my streams from about a year and some odd months ago, and I was calling for the tech hiring practices to change because they were absolutely broken. That was when LeetCode was at its peak. Everybody was LeetCode hiring or whiteboarding or making you jump through 7 different interview processes in order to get a job. And I knew that was broken. And the reason why it was broken, because nobody even knows how to hire a good programmer anymore, let alone do they even know what a good programmer looks like. This entire industry has been maligned by a type of thinking that doesn't belong in this space. This space, code, doesn't care about how you felt when you were writing the code. It does not care about your political leanings. It does not care about your religious beliefs. It does not care about your philosophies. It does not care whether you were sad or happy. It doesn't care. There's only a few things that you want your code and your hardware to do. You want it to run fast, you want it to run without bugs, and you want it to run secure. That's it. But we've lost our way, and now we've packaged it up into AI, and now we have bots that are students, and now we have bots that automate the ability for us to create ghost jobs and just keep them active all the damn time, and then we have bots to submit our resumes. Nothing is real anymore. 51% of the internet is now bots. I went over the study a few weeks ago, and most of those bots are AI. They're not just like code-based bots, they're actual AI bots. All of this is just, we're well on the path to a very bad place. The good news is that this can all be changed. It's not too late to change this. We are leaving a lot of money on the table. Companies can make way more money if they focus on quality, stability, and security. Programmers can make way more money if they focus on fundamentals and the things I just talked about. And if the entire industry as a whole, generally speaking, moved towards that more, in 6 months to a year, this industry would become unrecognizable. And for consumers, perhaps there are some of you watching right now who don't understand a lot of the programming stuff that we talk about here. That's okay. That's why I try and disseminate the information the way that I do, so that you can understand why you're so frustrated with the shit you have to put up with. This is why. This is an inside look behind the curtains of all the stupid decisions that are happening. And it's a shame, because this craft is going to be ruined. But you can vote with your dollar, and you can vote with your job, and you can vote with your skills, and you can vote by telling other people what I'm telling you. And hopefully by having me cover the news, do all this of my own time and break this information down and offer it to you in the best way that I possibly can, even though I know I'm not perfect at it. I suck a lot, and yes, yeah, ha ha ha, whatever. Hopefully it arms you with the knowledge you need to make better decisions and to talk to other people about it. That's what we really need. Okay. All right. That's it. That's the stream. Should we do one more? Should we do one more OpenAI? Let's ask OpenAI to do something. and watch it fail. Let's do one more and then we'll close out the stream. I want to thank all my supporters. I want to thank all the viewers. I want to thank everybody who chats and, all that stuff. I do this all for free. I don't ask for money. I simply care about the craft, and I appreciate the fact that people are even willing to listen. That's the most important thing. I do ask that you do help me out. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's a stupid algorithm game that I hate playing, but it's the only way to expand the message that I'm trying to expand and reach more people. And it's working. There are more people who are joining, like today, Andrew helped that one, but there are people who are shouting me out or who are pointing the finger at me, good or bad, and it brings people on here and they get to hear what I have to say, and hopefully it helps them. I really want a positive change in this industry because I think it's an extremely powerful industry to be in, and there could be good that comes out of it. So help me out with that while you guys are doing that and thinking about whether you actually want to help me out. My Tech on YouTube. Just for you, buddy. I don't have lungs, a digestive tract, or any physical form, just layers of software running on servers, so there's nothing to produce gas or sound. I can type out the fart sound for comedic effect, but I won't ever actually clear the digital air. My Tech, I'm just never gonna listen to you again. That was really sad. That sucked. That really sucked. How about this? Generate a map of all the provinces of Mars. Now, I wonder what it thought. The user is asking for map of Mars provinces, but there aren't any official provinces. Since they previously requested maps of other areas like the moon or Europe, they likely want a stylized fictional map. I'll generate a detailed map of Mars with provinces using a vintage cartographic style. Since they didn't specify look, I think a fantasy or topographic style would work. I'll call the image tool for this task. So it actually recognized that I was asking for something that didn't exist. I wonder if Sam Altman is listening to me, because it was only earlier today that it did this. We generated a few maps and it did not have this thinking step here. It didn't show this at all. So I can't really make fun of this now. Now the AI is outsmarting me. What the hell? Okay. Ask it. No, jeez. Generate an image of the TRAPPIST star system. Okay, no thinking on this one. Let's see. The TRAPPIST star AI is non-deterministic. It won't do the same thing twice. I mean, okay. Well, we'll see what this comes up with, and then I'll end the stream. It's a real solar system, by the way. Okay, good to know. With some wild properties. All right. TRAPPIST 1. Here we go. TRAPPIST 1C. TRAPPIST 1D. Well, let me guess. TRAPPIST 1G. Oh, we've got 2 C's, we've got 2 C's, 2 D's, and 3 G's. It's not even 5G, yo. There it is. The TRAPPIST 1 system. I bid you all adieu. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll just leave this up there, and we'll we'll end the stream there. You guys are with O4 Mini. It's kind of surprising it could even get the text right. I mean, yes, that's true. Yes. Thanks again for the support. I do appreciate it. Let me just make sure that I've got the right thing here. I do. All right, I'm going to end the stream. Everybody, stay safe out there. Thank you for watching the special report. This was kind of off the cuff. I think it went well. I think it went generally well. And I have 2 more special reports coming up. One of them is on scam compounds. It is exactly what it sounds like. These stories are wild. And another one is a deep dive into some of the cybersecurity, like the hacker groups, like ransomware as a service, phishing as a service, all of that stuff. Some of these groups are pretty freaking crazy. So we're gonna learn about some of these groups. It's gonna be a special report. We're gonna spend some time. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So thanks again. Thanks for all your support. There is a link at the end of the stream on the title somewhere. If you do want to support financially, you can there. Because I'm not approved for like subs or anything on YouTube. I am on Twitch. You can always do that too. But just in case you want to. But there's no actual, I'm not asking you to do that exactly. I'm just saying if you do want to do that, it would be helpful. But for the most part, it's I've taken the responsibility of doing this on my own time and my own cost for your benefit. So it's on me mostly. I'm mostly worried about getting the message out there. So I will ask you very much one more time, please hit the like and subscribe and all of that. Help me with the algorithm stuff. It helps a lot. That's the most helpful thing you can do. And I appreciate it. Okay, stay safe out there. Have a good day. Have a good night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Peace. By the way, you all suck. All of you suck. Every single one of you sucks. You all suck. You're all sucky losers who suck. What a bunch of suckers. You all suck. Okay? Pay me the suck tax of liking and subscribing.